So, of course, we're here today to talk about Love Victor. I'm so excited to hear about your role. So, can you tell me about the audition process, what it was like for this project?
Yeah, it was a little bit different than what I'm used to because of COVID, obviously. Actually, a year and a half ago, I had auditioned for the show for Victor, and obviously, I didn't get it for the right reasons. But yeah, my audition process for that one, at least, I went in a couple of times to read in front of the casting director, and then they had me come in for like what's called a screen test, is where they kind of like put you in front of like an actual camera and put a mic on you and actually see what you look like on camera and stuff. But for this role, it was a lot different. It was kind of cool. My manager called me while I was on set for another show, Generation, which just came out, and he was like, "Hey, so Love Victor season 2 is starting up, and they really want you. They loved you last time you auditioned, and they really want you to tape for this." And I was like, "Really? Like, are you serious right now?" So I sent in a tape, and the breakdown was for 16-year-old Iranian American male who is queer and new to Creekwood or whatever. And I was like, this is great. Like I'm half Iranian. Like this is awesome. Like this is for me. I sent the tape in, and I probably waited like a few days, and then I got the call that they wanted to like secure my dates, aka pin me, which is always really exciting. But at the same time, that like a lot can happen. Just because you're pinned doesn't mean you get the job. So yeah, and then after maybe like a week of securing the deal and getting it all set up and ready and like kind of understanding what the character is and like how much of the series he's going to be a part of, we came to a mutual deal, and like 4 or 5 days later I was on set. So it was a little bit more rushed, and it didn't take as much time as the last one did, but this one definitely felt right.
That's so exciting. I know I binge watched the first season. I'm so excited for the second one. I'm not sure if you could spill too much about your character, but you kind of touched upon him already. Can you tell me more about him and maybe how you relate to him?
Yeah, well, I mean, at first the character's name was Cyrus, which is my middle name. So I was like, come on, this is perfect, right? But we ended up changing the name to reflect a more accurate Muslim name to, kind of broaden um, the audience of who can relate to him. But he is still an Iranian American male. He is super funny and like always cracking jokes, and he's kind of like he serves as kind of a bit of a confidant for both Victor and Pilar, and he's Pilar's best friend and coworker, and like we go to school together, so like he kind of serves as that little extra level of support, especially since, as you know from season one, Victor's parents are going through a little bit of a rough patch with their marriage, and so while they're trying to navigate that, they kind of use my character Raheem, that's his new name, um, and they kind of help each other with the things that they're going through as young people in high school, navigating these scary, weird, new things that are happening to them. So that's kind of him.
For
in a
sure. I can't wait to see it. And I know you mentioned that you relate a lot to your character as well. What did you do to like prepare? Did you watch the first season of Love Victor? What did you
Yeah.
do?
I mean, I already watched the show prior to auditioning for it, but when my manager called and he was like, "Yeah, they're really interested in you," I was like, "Okay, I really need to like rewatch this and make sure I know everything in case the producers ask me questions or whatever." So yeah, I've definitely binged it like the night before my tape and kind of just got a better feel for the show because as an actor you
Mhm.
audition for a lot of different things, and like you kind of forget the tone of certain shows. So I wanted to make sure that I knew what I was doing before I auditioned, and that's kind of what I did.
You've been in like a plethora of projects, I know from your previous acting history. How do you think like fans will be surprised to see you in this new role as opposed to maybe others you played in the past?
This is definitely a character I've never played before. It's definitely something that I'm pushing the boundaries of myself as an artist by playing him. Raheem is, equally a challenge and a pleasure to play because we are very similar in a lot of ways, but we're also extremely different. I like to think of myself as a little bit more of an introvert or like an observer when I'm in a group setting, and whereas Raheem is like super loud and rambunctious and like the one that really steals the spotlight in a way. But that's why it's like so cool to play a character like that because especially in my younger years, I did a lot of serious work. I did like a bunch of more like 1 hour dramas and stuff. So as of recently, I've been kind of doing a lot more comedy, which is really, really fun.
That's awesome. I love comedy shows
Yeah.
myself. And you mentioned you started acting when you were young. How did you get your start in the entertainment industry?
It was, well, I love this story actually. Ever since I was young, like since I could talk, really, I'd always been a performer, and I'd always be, singing and dancing and reciting lines to a movie or whatever. But my parents, not growing up in LA or in the industry at all, they didn't really know what to do with that. So, like, kind of spur of the moment, my dad took me to the LA Auto Show because I've always loved cars. When I was 5 years old, and we were walking around and then having a good time with my mom and my dad, and this lady who was like soliciting her acting school, like came up to us and was like, did the whole, I'm gonna make your kid a star, blah 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 blah. And my parents were like, yeah, yeah, whatever, okay, sure. Because it was like probably ridiculously expensive and like not a very well known studio at all. But I just remember that car ride home from the auto show. I was like begging them. I was like, please, please let me do this. Like, enroll me, please. Like, I really want to do this. I want to be an actor. I want to do it. And my parents were like, definitely they agreed just to get me to shut up. But I'm really glad they did because that's how I got my start. I got into this acting studio in Irvine, California, like super random. But I ended up getting an agent and auditioning. My very first audition I booked. And that was for like a Disney World commercial on ESPN. And my parents were like, okay, maybe this is something that he can do. So, my mom, bless her soul, she took some time off of work so that she could be available for me and like took me to all my auditions, made sure I was ready for them, and got me to work when I did have work. And yeah, so that's kind of how I got my start in the industry. I started off doing commercials and like modeling.
That's amazing. So it seems like it was like in your blood kind of you kind of from such a young age. But if you were like weren't acting, what else do you think you'd be doing? Do you have any other interests?
Yeah, right now I'm I'm doing a lot of writing. I started writing a bunch of different scripts, a feature, a short, and a television pilot. Like, and that's something that I've recently gotten into. I always thought of myself as just someone who's going to be in front of the camera,
Mhm.
but being on set and stuff, like you learn a lot of things from a lot of different departments, and I've kind of grown into something other than just an actor. And hopefully, I can pursue that in the future. But yeah, I would probably still be in the industry, just in a different way. Like when I was in high school, this is before like I got really busy with work, and I kind of had to make that decision whether or not I wanted to continue acting and like make that my career, or go to college and get a degree and work a regular job. So at that time I was kind of wondering like, well, what degree can I get, or well, what kind of work would I be able to do that's still close to the industry? And I didn't want to like study film, because I felt that there were other ways to learn all of that without having to
Mhm.
pay like $50,000 a year, especially since I've already been doing that. So I almost like went to law school. I almost like became an attorney, and I don't know if I would have been happy with that, but I was like, well, I can be an entertainment attorney and like draft contracts for actors and stuff. But my parents have always instilled in me to like find a plan B, because you never know when plan A isn't gonna work anymore. So right now I'm learning how to write and make my own content, and I'm just doing that. I'm hoping plan A works though.
I think it will. You seem to be on a good path right now, going steady with all of your amazing projects. Do you know anything that you could spill about the show, about Love Victor, anything in the season fans can look forward to, or just maybe how it'll be different than season one?
It'll
Just
definitely be different than season one. I think definitely because of the show's move from Disney Plus to Hulu, we can
what? I didn't
explore.
know that.
Yeah, no, the originally season one was filmed for Disney Plus, and I guess they wanted to move it to Hulu for whatever reason, but I'm glad that they did because we were able to explore a little bit more adult themes in
Mhm.
season two that we wouldn't have been able to do if we were on Disney Plus. So definitely a little bit edgier, a little bit more spicy or whatever. So I think that's something you can look forward to. I can't really give away too
For
much.
sure. Definitely. And I know this like the show's loosely based off of Love Simon. Did you ever watch that before?
I did,
Mm.
yeah. I watched that. I watched that in Atlanta actually when I was filming something else, and I loved the film, and I was like really taken aback by it, like how important it became. Like I didn't realize how imperative it was to tell these kinds of stories, and to be on the spin-off show later on is like really cool looking back at it now.
Definitely. I love both of them. I went to a screening in the city here and I was in love with the movie. So when I saw the show, I was super excited for it. And then lastly, where can fans stay connected with you on social media and to stay up to date with you and all your projects?
Yeah, I'm not really on any other social media other than Instagram. So if they want to follow my Instagram, it's just at Anthony Keyvan. Super easy.
Awesome. Thank you so much for chatting with me. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you. I had a great time talking to you.